What's going on, Movie Meals? What did we do? We looked at every movie that came out this last decade, or we hopefully got every movie that came out this last decade. We narrowed that down to about 200 and something movies, then we narrowed that down to a top 50. All the movies that even made the top 200 are amazing, the top 50 are amazing. Kyle and I have different ways we looked at our list. What went into it? Is it rewatchability? What is it that made the list? I don't know, but Kyle, let's go 20 through 19. Kyle, what is your number 20?
I had to put Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 on here.
Love the choice. I do not have a Harry Potter film on mine.
And
Either one.
I understand that
And
might
they're
be
great.
high, especially with a lot of the really good movies I did put before that. So I understand that. But just for me growing up, like, this was such a big deal. This was like the final conclusion to the Harry Potter movie franchise. I think it did everything right for that movie. I thought they directed it very well. Solid conclusion. Everyone did a fantastic job. It is just a memorable experience for me finally being able to see that conclusion.
Love that choice. Did not make mine, but I really do love that. My number
Yeah.
20 is Room. Not introduce me, but it's Brie Larson at her best. It's Jacob Tremblay before he was part of the Beanbag Boys. It's a great film. It's hard to watch. It's powerful. It's Oscar worthy. It's a great film. Top 20 of the decade. Kyle, what do you got for number 19?
Nightcrawler for me. Another great
Nightcrawler.
Jake Gyllenhaal performance. I think
Love
this one was
Nightcrawler.
very under the radar.
Wow.
But
Wow.
it's
Whoa.
riveting. It's intense from start to finish. Like, it's always go, but you are always sucked in constantly. Very creative, very well done story. Nightcrawler.
Yeah, I love that pick. I
Yeah.
love Nightcrawler. My number 19 is Get Out. It's a incredible horror film. It reintroduces to a different style of horror. It's funny at the same time. It's Jordan Peele just knocking things out of the park, and I love Get Out. I think it's the best thing he's done, and I just enjoy the heck out of that movie. Kyle, what is your 18?
18 is Snowpiercer.
Love that.
And I don't know if many people have seen this one, but you should really check it out. It's probably one of the most interesting sci-fi movies. A lot of sci-fi movies I realize on this list, but it's really just creative. It almost feels like kind of like one of those platform video games. Like, you go into another place and it's just completely different from the other because it all takes place on a train.
Wow, I'd cut
it's
that
just-
out, but
it's
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I did make my list. I
Oh,
thought it
okay.
had. That's how many cuts I made. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
Yeah, but
Love
anyway, I'll
Snowpiercer.
just sum it up there. Like, it's just such an interesting concept, but it kept me entertained from beginning to end, and I just was thinking about it like a couple of days after and a couple of years after.
I'm with you. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no,
you
you're all
here.
good, bro. You're all
My
good.
number 18 is The Raid Redemption,
right,
baby.
all right.
That movie blew me away with its
Yeah.
raw, gritty action. It's an insane film that's just so bloody. It's so amazing. It's so martial arts, and I love it. Love it. Go check out The Raid Redemption if you haven't seen it. Get past the language barrier and stop being a meanie if you whine about it. But anyway, Kyle, what's your number 17?
Well said, Al. Number 17 is Inside Out. I feel like
Did not make my list.
this anime movie is one of the best anime movies of this decade. Well, almost one of the best anime movies
Oh!
of this decade. There is one more. I
That's
almost
called
forgot,
a
but
tease.
It is a tease right there. But it
I
is
know exactly
definitely
what movie you're
one of
talking
the
about.
better ones of the year. I think it's a very adult movie, but it's still targeted towards kids. It makes kids feel smarter, but it still does all the right things that an anime movie should do for children. It teaches them lessons that it's okay to have all these feelings, that it's okay to have emotions, that you should express yourself in the right ways and don't try and hide yourself from what you're feeling, just to be able to let it all out and be able to express yourself. And I think it was just done creatively. I think the voice work's incredible, and it just was so touching, and it was probably one of the few Pixar movies that almost made me in tears because I just thought it was so incredible.
Yeah, I love it. My number 17 is It, the first It, Chapter 1 in 2017. This movie introduced me that horror is okay. It made me grow up. It made me not be a loser anymore. No, not that you're a loser if you don't like horror films. You are just fine and you're amazing. You're perfect. But it really
Well
made me
said.
love horror. And ever since, I've been wanting to watch more horror. I caught up on so many great horror films. Still have some to go. But it really brought me into what it takes to make great horror. And I think the first It is really, 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 really good. Where the second one is not maybe as great, but I think the first one really does stand as one of the best movies of the decade. Had to get some serious horror on here, so we went with It, Chapter 1.
Honestly, I was surprised that it was it. I thought it would be some other stuff.
Like
Especially-
Hereditary,
Yeah.
because that did not make my list.
Which that's surprising.
Wow.
It-
Wow. Got him.
Wow.
Got him, movie meals.
Wow.
Got him.
Wow.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, we're done here. 16 is Arrival. Another sci-fi movie. Another
Wow.
Denis Villeneuve movie. But I think it's
Love that.
so
film.
cool.
How much Denis has been on here? Denis, what are you doing?
There's not enough. There's not enough. Make
Let's
more
get Dune out
movies.
now.
No, I mean, what else more can I say about this movie other than that it's just so creative, it's just so beautiful to watch. I think it's such an interesting concept. All the acting is terrific. Amy Adams was snubbed for an Oscar, or at least for a nomination that year. Again, Denis
win.
Villeneuve, what can he do? He's just talented.
Master of
He's
sci-fi.
just talent. That's the definition. 16 is Arrival.
My number 16 is a movie that when I made my top 10 list, I actually had not my number one, but I think over time I have regretted that, and that is Moonlight. And Moonlight is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's captivating. It's Barry Jenkins at his all-time best for me still.
Yeah,
and that movie is incredible. Please go check it out if you have not seen it.
Yeah,
Kyle, what is
definitely.
your 15? We're on 15.
15 is Sicario.
Wow. Did
It
not
is-
make my list. That's an interesting choice. I like
Yeah.
Sicario.
Yeah, I was trying to move it around certain spots.
Isn't that Denis Villeneuve?
Yeah. What can't he do?
Denis, what are you doing?
What can't you do?
Go make a Star Wars movie, why don't you?
No, Sicario was awesome.
Wow.
Like, it taught me
Wow.
about stuff that was unfamiliar for me when it comes to war and just how things are just so tense, more than I ever thought it was between Americans and like Mexico in general. And I just think that it was done. It depicted just so fantastically, but it was also so entertaining. It was riveting. It was insightful. It felt real. It felt raw. And it just gave me a theater experience where I was definitely paying attention from start to finish because I knew that I needed to understand this stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you. I get all that. My number 15 is The Edge of 17. I think, along with An Eighth Grade, these two movies are extremely relatable no matter what age you are because we've all been through most of that stuff. Obviously, she goes through some things that, I will never experience in my life, but it is heartbreaking. It is Haley Steinfeld and Woody at their best. I think they are fantastic. I think it's a decades classic. I think it's an all-time classic. I think people are going to remember this film as kind of maybe one of the movies that are more in our generation. It's even funny at times, and I adore that film. So yeah, Kyle, what's next? By the way, real quick, my 15 through 1 were all the movies that I had set aside and said these have to make it, and they all ended up being in my top 15, so gear up.
Awesome. 14 for me was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Whoa! What? I thought that was top 3 for you. What? Holy cow! What? He's getting up. I don't even know how to contain myself. I'm baffled by that choice. Wow!
I did it just for that
I
reaction.
swear, I thought that might have been your number 1.
It was in top
What?
10. It was in top 10.
What? Ah, you're killing me, Smalls.
Honestly, I'm glad you reacted this way because this one was really tough to place. Honestly, I could see this years later and be like, this should have been like in the top 10 or it should have at least been 13 through 11. But I had to put it here because I do think there was others that did impact me a lot. But as a fan of Spider-Man, I think it hit all the right buttons. It's a fantastic animated movie. Some of the best interesting animation that we've seen in years. It gave Alex a migraine, which is a bonus.
Wow. I'm baffled.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of those that I look back on this list and be like, maybe not. It probably could have been in top 10, but I think it's at the right spot as of now.
I seriously thought that might be your number 1. Now I
That's
think
fair.
my coming up here is predictable, and now you've thrown everything out the window for you. Wow. My number 14 is The Avengers, the original first Avengers in 2013. For what that did for me as a child, watching that for the first time, which I'm sure it's much higher on Kyle's list. But that movie, really, compared to from what they were able to accomplish when that first time kind of hit, it was just something magical, and it was one of my best theater experiences. A packed theater. I got to see it with my dad and my sister and my brother, and I adored that movie. Wow, I'm
13
kind of flustered, I gotta be honest.
13 for me is The Avengers.
Wow,
No,
we
I'm kidding,
missed
I'm
it!
kidding,
Dang it!
I'm kidding. I just want the reaction. But it is a Marvel movie. It's Guardians of the Galaxy.
Did not make my list.
Wow.
Wow.
This is
Love Guardians.
Well, this is gonna make me sad to say, but it was one of my favorite theater experiences.
I
Especially,
could still be one of my favorite theater experiences with Golden
but just
Kyle.
for me personally, especially with you.
No,
my
you're
best
talking about
friend
when
by
you
my
went
side.
first the night before, and then you came and
Oh, that's
watched it
right,
with
I
me
did.
second.
No,
Great
no.
theater experience,
No,
Kyle.
I did enjoy both theater experiences. I did forget that I saw it before.
God,
I seen it
him.
with him. That
He saw it
is
on Thursday
true.
and then drove to me and saw it with me
That
Friday.
is
It
true.
was
I
my
did
first
forget
time.
about that. But it's still
Gotcha.
Both experiences were fantastic, especially with him, my best friend, of course. Of course.
Me?
It was just
Oh
one
my
of the
God.
more pleasant surprises of this decade for me, not as just
Wow.
a comic book movie, but just as a movie in general. It just hit all the right buttons for me. I thought that it had everything going for it. Yeah, 13 has to be Guardians of the Galaxy.
My number 13 is Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
I tried to get this on my list.
Oh, it didn't even make it. Are you
Oh.
kidding me? Your list is wackadoodle.
It is
My
wackadoodle. That's
list
true.
is accurate. I'm just kidding. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes to me is still the best of the trilogy, and I love all of them.
Yeah,
I
for
think
sure.
it's Caesar at this height of his power, and I just adore that
Andy
movie.
Serkis.
Andy Serkis is incredible. It's extremely well done by Matt Reeves, and I just adore that movie. So, Kyle, what's your number 12? Oh, we're getting to the end.
It's another superhero movie. It's Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Wow, that was like, what, 40 on mine?
Yeah, really though.
Accurate.
It just
Love The Winter
it was a
Soldier.
movie that dawned on me
36.
that comic book movies don't have to just be comic book movies. They don't have to kind of be the same thing. They can just switch them up. They can switch up genres. They can be different. They can be interesting. They don't have to just be about a superhero, but just about what I was talking about, like politics and about like choosing what you believe in versus choosing what your government believes in. I just think it was creative. I thought the action was on the next level for the Marvel Universe in general. It gave us the Russo brothers, introduced us to them pretty much for when it comes to movie making. For just a wider audience anyway.
For
but
sure.
it also came out on my birthday, which also was a nice bonus to have. But
Look at that. I remember going to that. I was
yeah,
sick when we saw it on your birthday.
oh, really? Well, I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
But it just, again, for me as a comic book fan, it was awesome. But just as a movie fan, I thought it did things right to switch up superhero movies.
My number 12 is Warrior, baby. I think it's
alright.
one of the most underrated movies nobody talks about in the last decade. I
Yeah.
think it's insanely good. If
Yeah.
it wasn't for Locke, it would be Tom Hardy's best performance for me. Joel Edgerton, it really introduced me to his incredible talent because I'd only really seen him as Uncle Owen in the prequels. And he's just incredible. It's got Nick Nolte in there. It's an incredibly heartwarming movie. It's a heartbreaking movie. It's all of the above. It's about brothers. It's about loss. It's about acceptance. And I just adore that movie. What will you do to protect your family and to help your family? It's a great film. Go check out Warrior if you haven't seen it.
Number 11 is Prisoners.
Whoa.
And whoa.
Wow. Wow.
Another one of my favorite theater experiences, honestly. Especially, I got to see it with him. I know it's like one of his favorite movies. I think it'll probably be in the top 10, I think.
Wow. It might be up there.
But it's one of my favorite theater experiences.
Who
but I
made
thought,
that little film?
was it Denis?
It was Denis Villeneuve.
What can't you do?
God, I hope it was Denis Villeneuve and I'm not being a weirdo. No, I'm pretty positive.
I
You
thought
keep
it was,
talking.
but-
Yeah, we're gonna cut this out.
No, but not only was it one of my favorite theater experiences, but I also thought it was just such an underrated, interesting mystery movie. I thought that was also a great movie about loss, about heartbreak, about trying to
It was
redeem.
Denis.
Okay, cool. We know movies. We know movies.
Yeah, loved it.
And honestly, it showed me how great of an actor Hugh Jackman really could be. Like I've honestly growing up, I only have seen him in Wolverine movies, truth be told, but it really made me be like, oh, that guy is a legit actor, and Jake Gyllenhaal is also fantastic as well. But it just made me remember it just for the longest time up until now, and it's just such a great movie. It's not the most rewatchable one, unlike some people might think.
I think
but,
I've seen that movie 20 times.
but it's just it's awesome. It's just
My number 11 is my favorite Quentin Tarantino film, and that is Django Unchained.
Nice.
Django Unchained hit me at the
Yeah.
right time in my life. Far too low on Kyle's list, but or hit me at the right time in my life, and It captivated me. I still think it's Leonardo DiCaprio's best performance he has ever given. I think he should have been nominated for an Oscar, even though he's not. I know everybody's like, you're not in the movie that much. Well, there's been plenty of actors who have been nominated, one who haven't been in the movie very much. So I love Django Unchained, from what the story is to the Tarantinoisms to the love to the violence. It's the best. So I love it. But Kyle, you're finishing us off, right? Number 11.
I already did 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So, guys, we got our top 10 coming, and I've just decided that we're going to do 10 through 6 as a separate video, and then 5 through 1, because I think that'll be fun, and we want to make you wait longer. So,
Fair
Movie
enough.
Meals, please go check it out. We've got 10 through 6 coming next. So, that'll be
prepared.
tomorrow. Go check out all the other ones if for some reason you haven't. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Put down, comment your list. What do you think? Do you hate ours? What do you got? And as always,
Probably
thanks
do.
for watching, Mom.
See you guys.